All right, hello again. Today we're just gonna be talking about that like little Arbeloa recap. So, obviously, new manager of Real Madrid, Xabi Alonso was sacked about like 2.5 weeks ago after losing the Supercopa final, and then Alvaro Arbeloa came in. He's an internal solution. Um, he was a player for us, one of our like not like a star player, but he was very much like a hard worker, like just a cog of the team almost. A good runner. Managers loved him. He had that like Madrid. He was a player that was supposed to play for Real Madrid. He has that passion for the club. He's a good captain when he was as well. And then he came back to the club. Did a bit of coaching. He was coaching Castilla, which is our youth team that is like the team that connects our youth whole program to the senior squad. It's kind of like La Masia for Barcelona. He was a Castilla coach, and then he got promoted to be the main manager of Real Madrid. So some couple things I wanted to talk about Arbeloa is I did a little bit more research on him. Like I obviously didn't watch none of the Castilla games or any of the other games that he's coached, but I watched some of the Castilla games. His Castilla record wasn't the best, although they did start picking up a bit form, right before he got what's it called? He got the job, or he got the main job for Real Madrid. But his, what's it called? Like his best piece of coaching comes for Real Madrid U19, where he won the treble, I think 2 years ago now. And so I watched a lot of those games to try to see like how does he manage his players and what is his like system, like how does he like to set up his teams, and how did he set up Castilla differently and all that. So we'll get into some of that. I have the tactics board up, so we'll have like a little segment where we kind of break it down on the pitch. But first we can start with just context. Obviously right now, today in an hour, we play Benfica. The lineups are actually out, so I guess we can just start here. Or actually, let's not start there. Let's go just to the main squad and just look at where Real Madrid is. Currently, we're on a nice little 3-game win streak after these really bad losses to Albacete and Barcelona. Right, Barcelona wasn't a bad loss. I thought we played decently, but it's just a final loss. We don't like those. Albacete, this is like one of the most embarrassing losses I've seen in a long, long time for Real Madrid. Probably the most embarrassing loss since we got like disqualified from the Copa del Rey, just stupidly in 2016. We had like a suspended player and we just included him in the squad and just didn't realize. Levante was a good W. Monaco was like obviously the big game, but also Villarreal. Villarreal was a really, really good game to try to take note of. This was like the 11, so we'll mainly be talking about these two games when we go to the tactical breakdown. On the table right now in La Liga, we sit second. I believe we're third in the Champions League right now. Okay, who the fuck is that? Go to the Champions League, and yeah, we're third. We're sitting third. A win will mean instant qualification to the round of 16. Benfica have not been playing well. They're 29th right now. Obviously, Jose Mourinho knows the club. I don't think it should be too difficult a game. We shouldn't make it too difficult. If we play like how we played against Villarreal and Monaco, we should win this game comfortably, like 3-1. I would say that's my prediction. But yeah, so we're sitting healthy in like all the tables, and everything that we're involved in. Still, we're doing pretty well in. So now I guess we can go over to the Benfica game and just look at the lineup. So only one change for this lineup. Oh, is this? Yeah. Okay. Only one change from the team that played against Villarreal. Tchouaméni comes in for Camavinga. And Camavinga did play left back in that Monaco game, but now Carreras is back. He's not suspended. He's the starting left back for this role. So good 11. First thing I want to note, and one positive that I want to just get out of the way for Arbeloa, is this consistency in the 11. Like, yes, maybe you want to try other players other than Goulet, maybe you want to try Camavinga, Ceballos. You want Valverde to move up, maybe play a youth player at right back. There's and obviously this is not our starting center back pairing. We have Rudiger, Militao, Alaba. Though Alaba's not a starter, but it would probably be Militao over here. Starting over Asensio. Not to say Asensio's been bad. Asensio, I think, been our best center back this year, I would say, other than Militao, but he's injured. So I would say because of that, Asensio's been our best guy. But yeah, you see, like there's just consistency in the setup. There's consistency in the players that play. There's maximum like 2 to 3 changes, maybe 1 to 2 changes per lineup so far for Arbeloa. And yes, it is a small sample size, but this is like I would like to see this. I like to see the consistency in at least the setup. Change the players as much as you want, but the setup is the same because this is important because how do you build continuity in a squad and chemistry in a squad with yes you got all these superstars, but you don't like this isn't like FIFA where you can just play like a 3 back or like a 5 back the next game and then like a 4 back. No, we need some consistency. These players need to gel together. It's a new team. These players are young. We have some connections like Vinny and Bellingham have a really good connection. Chouameni's been a mainstay for a while. Valverde's been a mainstay, but Masato is new. Goulart, this is his first season starting. Asensio, he knows the club pretty well. Housen, he's young though. Housen, young and inexperienced. Carreras, new, young left back. So having these consistent, setups and consistent squads, it really helps us build form, and I think that's kind of what we're doing right now. Hopefully, we make it 4 wins in a row. But yeah, good lineup. So first, let's or not first. We've talked about it quite a bit so far, but now let's get into just some things that Alonso got wrong. So we talked about it a lot in the Alonso video, but some things I wanted to mention and some things that I think I didn't hone in on or mention too much in the Alonso sacking video is there's 3 main things that I think Alonso did wrong, and I think it's not wrong for a manager to do, but I think it just wasn't a good fit at Real Madrid. One thing, and I think is his just overbearingness and over pushing of tactics. Like we're not a positional team. The sport isn't even a positional game anymore. Position play has really gone downhill. You can see it just with how Man City been playing. Arsenal in big games, like yeah they win and all that, but this positional you don't like the Man U game. They were in it and they control possession, but that's just not like how teams play anymore. It's very man-to-man pressing, zonal pressing, kind of. Those are the off ball structures, but then it's very positionless in attack. It's just putting your players in areas of the pitch. Like Vinny is very dominant in these areas of the pitch, but he has full freedom to roam the entire pitch and create. That's what we need. And then you have just a couple cogs of the team that are positional, and that mainly is like the center back, one or two of the center backs, maybe the DM, and one of the fullbacks they're holding down to create that sort of 3-2 or 2-3 rest defense shape. But everybody else is very fluid. That's kind of the new style, and I think Xabi was trying to push his philosophies and try to find a balance with those two. It just didn't work out. We kind of saw with how much he would change the 11 and how much inconsistencies. Like if you watch Madrid games, we made so many like easy errors, like easy passes. There was a lot of confusion in the squad as to where players go. You can see it on their faces and in their hand signals in games. Players were very confused as to what to do. It's a two-way thing. It's them. They have to accept it and accept the tactics and play with them with high intensity. And then the manager also has to find like an even ground for the players and that specific tactical setup. But Xabi's and Real Madrid's didn't align, and it went downhill. I think the Clásico game, the reason that was such a dominant game is I think there was additional motivation, like external motivation. Already it's a Clásico, so you want to win, but there's external motivation in trying to disprove what Lamine Yamal said with those comments about Real Madrid cheating. So as much as I credit that win to Xabi, that was also one of Xabi's biggest downfalls, and we get into like that second and third aspect of what he got wrong is like the player disconnect. So we saw that how Vinicius reacted at the end of or when he got substituted in the Clásico, and the board didn't take any sort of action against him. And a lot of people, that was a big argument point on Twitter where it's like Vinny should be punished, or this is where it's going downhill. Alonso needs more. Alonso has no charge of the lineup or of the players. He has no authority. So a lot of things came out from that. But here's one thing that I will say, and I'm not going to really comment on my opinion on that substitution because at the end of the day we won the game, and that's kind of all I really care about. Um, the board is always going to back the players. And especially when you have players like Vinicius, like Bellingham, like Kylian Mbappe, like proven winners. And Bellingham and Mbappe, or sorry, Vinicius and Mbappe have, or Vinicius and Bellingham have won for your team. They've won a Champions League. They've won multiple league titles. Vinicius has been a key player. That's why I say over and over again, like he is Real Madrid. Like if he plays well, Real Madrid plays well. And maybe Mbappe is the best player right now, but this is like Vinny's team, you know, in that sense. Like he is that creative player. He brings that spark to Real Madrid. He is the one that can go, you know, change the complete momentum and direction of a game. And he was being mistreated, or like he thought he was being mistreated with Alonso. He had a bad relationship with Alonso, and the board is not gonna back Alonso. Managers are always expendable. Your players are not. Your players are, they're very, very difficult to replace, and especially players of this quality. So obviously, you know, a lot of people were saying, like, a lot of people I've talked to that are Madrid fans are like, yeah, Alonso should have gone sacked after Liverpool, after the Liverpool loss, and how, you know, Vinicius was treated in the Clasico, just because of how Real Madrid is. And we kind of saw it just took a downward turn, and the vibes at Madrid were just bad. Like it wasn't exciting looking forward to a game. That kind of was just gone. Right now, even though like we may not win anything this season, and it's gone as bad as it has, just these 3 games of just a little bit of continuity, a little bit of positivity in the squad, a little bit of positivity from Vinicius and his performances has brought a lot of, like, you know, excitement back. Even in 24-25, as much as like we were bad, and as much as you'd go into games dreading them, and the Arsenal tie specifically, the second leg, like not knowing, you still had like a little bit of belief, you know, that squad was still connected, and all that, and I think we can still achieve that with this squad. And I think this squad is definitely better than last year's, like in terms of just the obviously injuries we have are not like they're bad, but we'll get those players back. Everybody's performing, you know, better, more connected. I feel they're just more used to, you know, the squad. It's been a year plus, and now we have a good center back addition in house. And if he can find his form, Masantuono I think is a good signing as well. Carreras, Trent Alexander-Arnold when he's back. So yeah, all these things. It's looking forward. It's looking good for Real Madrid moving forward, and I think I like how we're playing. We just got to keep this up. So yeah, and then the last thing I'll just mention is just one thing I saw. When I watch like these Real Madrid inside training videos that Madrid posts on their YouTube, and then they have like extended clips that you can find on Twitter from training, and you can kind of see the difference with Arbeloa and with Xabi. And again, this is not like a knock on Xabi. This is not like he's gonna succeed at the next club he goes to. Hopefully he goes to Liverpool. I think he'll do really, really well there. But yeah, he'll succeed there. It's just his methodology is just not what Real Madrid needs. It was very overbearing. It's very much like, hey, we are intense, we are focused, and there's no fun, you know? These players, you can't teach them how to play. You can't teach Mbappe how to play. You can't teach Vinicius how to play. You can't teach Bellingham how to play. They're the best in the world. They're gonna do everything that they need to do on the pitch, and they're gonna do it right. You don't teach them. You just guide them. That's all you do. You guide them, you put them in the right positions, and you motivate them. That's exactly what Arbeloa is doing. That's exactly what Ancelotti is doing. It's why the players had such a good relationship with Ancelotti, even when they were doing so bad and all that, you know? That relationship is important with the players. And I think Arbeloa is a really good man manager. He may not have the tactical mind and like the genius of Xabi Alonso. Because I did think Xabi Alonso had some great moments at Real Madrid. That Bilbao game, especially the Club World Cup, was great in how that was, handled by him, other than the 4-0 loss, but we've talked about that in previous videos. So yeah, there was things there from Real Madrid in tactical setups, but the player attitude was never there. Now the player attitude is there, and we don't really need, like, we depend more on our players than we do our system. And that's just how Real Madrid's been. Ever since the start, ever since even I started watching, even before that, people will tell you. So I think Arbeloa is the right man in that sense, and I think he motivates the players to make them want to work hard, make them want to be intense. We have had our fitness issues. The fitness coach has been remodeled and all that. The fitness staffing has been remodeled. We have Pintus back, and so I think physical ability wise, they're just. You can't, like, these are some of the best athletes in the world. We can't put too much doubt on them, you know? It's a grueling schedule, so obviously injuries will be the main thing that affect form throughout the season, throughout every, for all teams, all squads. But we're in a good position. The players look motivated. They look hungry. They look like they want to play again. And I think if we just keep stacking wins, that this is the time to get hot. So forget like everything that's happened, so far in the season. Just start fresh point now. Move forward. You have two big trophies, that you can win, that you're very much in contention for. Just go out there and put your best foot forward. Now we can get into, so that kind of talked about like also Arbeloa's like instant impact and everything. That's the next thing I want to talk about, but I think I kind of covered that. So we'll get into like the tactical setup. So let's just go with the lineup that we're gonna play against Benfica, and then I'll kind of talk to you about how Arbeloa sets up. So it's just Chouameni that is the change here. Yeah, so this is kind of how we're setting up right now. I'll kind of talk about this before I bring in like the starters, because I think there's the one big tactical difference that will occur when Trent Alexander-Arnold and Militao are back in the lineup. This is how we set up right now. One huge thing that I've really been noticing is just our squad depth is good. Our injuries have been bad. Our back line, our squad depth is good. Our squad is heavily imbalanced. That's the best way to put it, I'd say. If we go to our squad right now, we have Trent that's still out injured. Militao they say he's still very early in his recovery process. Antonio Rudiger will be back soon. Ferland Mendy just doesn't even play. Like, he can't play. He plays one game and then he just can't. It's even a miracle that he's playing still now. He has pretty bad health conditions and all that. But yeah, so this is how we set up. Now it's very basic setup. Off the ball, it's just this 4-3-3. Maybe it'll drop into like a 4-2-2 or 4-4-2, which is, again, we are very used to these sort of off the ball setups, and it'll be like this. But what I really want to highlight is Vinny Jr. has full freedom for all of this. Like, all these spaces, this whole thing is all his. He drops down here to create. He'll move up here to create. I want to bring up this one point. Ignore the caption. I don't really like these, but if you watch Vinny Jr. here, he receives the ball here, and this is what I like. All these players are on the last line of defense. This is like 80th minute too, but these players pushing the back line back and creating this space here for Vinicius to create. This is what we really struggled with last season, is getting the ball quickly to the attackers. We didn't have that progressive ability from the back, but with Howson being at his best form, he can kind of provide that from the back. That's what Trent will involve as well, and you'll kind of see Madrid having possession in these areas of the pitch. Just to back out, we will dominate the ball in these areas of the pitch when Trent is back, I feel, and you'll see in those La Liga games and everything, Madrid will dominate the ball. That's kind of what we did here against Villarreal. They had their chances and it was back and forth, but there was never a moment where you're like, okay, Madrid is on the back foot. Madrid is, facing all the pressure. Madrid is surviving. Madrid is suffering. It was back and forth. They created, we created. We just created better. But this is what I mean. Vinicius into the space. You can't teach this. Like, he knows, like, look at that ball. Perfect into Mbappe. And obviously Mbappe wins the pen. Look, players in the box, players rushing in the box. This is what we love to see. Vinicius comes all the way down, from making his run or making his ball and into the box. This is what we weren't seeing against Alonso. This effort was not available, was not present, especially in those latter stages with Alonso. I don't know. That's enough for Twitter. But yeah, he creates. Mbappe has full freedom as well, and we all know, like, these two, you don't tell them what to do. You just let them play and let them figure out how to connect. And these past 3 games, I've seen the best of Vinicius and Mbappe connecting. Another thing, Bellingham, he has full freedom for the whole pitch. He is our ball winner, our progressor, our tempo setter, our goal scorer, our box threat, like everything. This is the best midfielder in the world. This is an all-timer. And he also has full freedom. So now you have these 3 over here. Our right-hand side is a bit weak right now, but Masantuono is really going into it. I really like how he's been looking against Monaco. He was great, I thought. And yeah, he kind of commands this right hand side with Valverde, allowing Valverde to kind of push in, and Tchouaméni over here, he's kind of that holding guy. And then we have this like back line setup. But this is what I want to mention. It's not structured. It's not like we're in this setup and Howson stays back, Tchouaméni's holding, Valverde is pushing with. Like, you'll see Valverde here, Mbappe will be here, Vinny Jr. maybe will be out here, maybe Carreras will be here, Bellingham will be in the box, Goulet will be out wide, and Masantuono will be here. It's so unbelievably fluid. Just, this is I think the best way I can kind of explain it is just with like player roles. So obviously Courtois, he's just a keeper, like goalkeeper. There's nothing. He is underrated with his feet, but there's not much he needs to do. Sometimes he plays along if we're playing Gonzalo and Bellingham to get that knock-on pass, or we just recycle. There's no complaints with him. Carreras is like almost like a wing back, but also can invert. What I've seen now is before with Alonso, Carreras would be inverted and Vinicius would be out wide to create those 1v1 isolations over here. And that's a Pep sort of ideology, a Pep system where you have your wingers out wide and you tuck in your fullbacks, and then you have an overload in the middle and you can create 1v1 opportunities with your best players out wide. That's not what we do anymore. We have Vinny Jr. just free roaming and Carreras simply as support for him. He simply goes and combines with Vinny and goes in wherever Vinny isn't. So Vinny is on the inside. Carreras is out here then. And then Howson will maybe push up here with Tchouaméni in a double DM role, because we have runners to run back. Let me not get carried away. Let me go one player at a time. So Carreras is just support and wing, a wing back role just for Vinicius. Then we move to Howson. He's like that. He's like a progressive center back, progressive DM progressive center back that also morphs into like a DM sometimes. You'll see him play like combinations here with Vinny. He'll like pass to Carreras will pass to Vinny, and he'll make this run. He'll end up all the way here, and Vinny will drive forward with the ball, from this position into these positions, maybe out wide. And wherever he goes, Carreras does the opposite movement. It's just support for Vinny, who's a free roamer. So we've done Howson. Asensio, he's just our out and out like stopper at the back. Like the ball like rolls on the pitch. Shit, that's new. Asensio is just our out and out defender. He's like not really like a last line or anything, but he's making those crunching tackles. He's just a traditional center back. Valverde, again, similar to Carreras, he is like has that freedom in the middle. Like when we have possession, he'll be inverted here. He'll come up here, and he has the energy to cover all this space. You give him this space, and you give him Masantuono to help out on this side, and then maybe before I get to them, I'll just conclude it there. So he has that full freedom. When he comes in the middle, it'll be much better for him, but he obviously performs really well at right back. Tchouaméni, he's like our holding mid, a tackler, kind of regaining the ball once we lose it. But also, again, he has that freedom to make those box runs, to come up all the way over here. And he's sometimes, when Howson comes up, you'll see him press up a little bit more on the back line with Bellingham and Goulet, because he has that support in Howson. But this is like where we need that change. Just somebody to help out Tchouaméni over here in that ball retention. And that's why Howson comes up. Maybe that could be Trent, that's a future video that we'll talk about when Trent is healthy. But I can see Trent being that guy that tucks in over here and then lets Valverde and Bellingham be higher up. Maybe even I could see Valverde still staying on the wing and just, Valverde and Alexander-Arnold covering this right-hand side as Masantuono and Valverde are currently. And then, what's it called? You can still play Goulet then, in this middle for those 2 8, if you want to have those 2 free roaming 8s, which we can get to now as we're talking about, we've talked about all these guys' positional roles. Bellingham and Goulet free roaming 8. You can come deep and help support, but don't do it often. Stay up here, stay close to the forwards, play final balls, play combinations and all that. He's really good at that. He's really good in these positions right here on the pitch. This is his bread and butter, I would say. He can do a job over here, but only supplemental. He can't be a mainstay in this part of the pitch just because he's too much of a liability. Especially when Xabi Alonso is trying that positional play, you have Goulet and Chouameni, let's say, for example, holding it down at the back. And as soon as Chouameni would move up the pitch, players would instantly engage the press on Madrid, try to win the ball, and counterattack because they knew we didn't have that many players back. And we saw it from the first La Liga game with Xabi Alonso till he got sacked. When we could see chances, they're high XG chances. So yeah, Goulet, free roaming 8, just stay more up. And then Bellingham, another free roaming 8. He has licensing for the whole pitch. And obviously we've talked about Bellingham. I'm not going to glaze him anymore. Vinny Jr. and Mbappe, we've also talked about them. Mbappe really getting into that center forward role. He's not really great at link up. I think his link up is still just redundant and unnecessary, but he does it well. But he does it better than he did before. He doesn't lose the ball. He's good at switching the play and everything. And then obviously he's finding himself in the box way more now, creating way more. He's like our main goal scorer. And then Masantuono, we've talked about him with Valverde. Just he's still growing into his own. He's a young right winger. I think Rodrigo will come in for him once Rodrigo is healthy. But yeah, Masantuono getting into it really well. Left-footed right winger is what we need. He needs to get better at his right foot and create that little bit of a guessing game for 1v1 situations, because he always finds himself going at the man, then turning back and then like passing the ball back inside. And it works because of how many players now we are committing to the middle, with Haaland moving up, Tchouameni moving up, Bellingham moving up, Carreras playing as support, and we're trying to play the game in their half, like over here, against weaker opposition, but also against a bit stronger opposition like Villarreal. We want to play here. We are, again, we've always been, even in these bad times, we've been incredible in the transition. That's not something that needs to be taught. We were incredible in the transition against, or with Ancelotti, with Xabi, and now with Arbeloa as well. We'll be good. That goal, the second goal that Mbappe scored against Monaco, just shows that transitional ability. We took the ball all the way from here, like literally right here, and scored right here in the span of like couple seconds, 15, 20 seconds. Brilliant transition team. And that was a slow transition too. So we don't need any like tactical mastery, tactical setup for in that sense. So it's basically just putting the players in their right positions. When Alexander-Arnold is back, it'll be much different, but I want to talk about that in its own separate video when he is back, just so you guys have a reference to actually like watch. You can watch the highlights and kind of see what I'm talking about. Players we've kind of talked about. We've talked about the importance that every player kind of brings to the squad. So I guess we'll just conclude it by talking about Arbeloa moving forward. Some things that I like how he makes substitutions. I think he makes them at the right time and he makes correct ones. Hopefully our fitness levels and new fitness staff can help prevent and negate a lot of nagging injuries that we've been having within the squad, and we can have some more consistencies in our 11. And I really hope that Arbeloa can find like a style of play with this squad, because I don't think we need like an incredible manager to manage this squad and bring the squad success. We just need somebody that is a right fit. And Arbeloa, it's looking like it's moving in the right direction. I'm not going to get over my head about it, but it's looking like it's going well. Again, big judgments will be made when the round of 16 of the Champions League starts and the knockout stages. That's when the season really begins for Real Madrid at this stage. But yeah, he's not perfect, Arbeloa. I think he's doing the right things. It's just about seeing it on the pitch now. As we Madrid fans, I think we can all like kind of agree. As much talking that has happened with the squads and all that, and discussions and videos being posted about like, okay, how can Real Madrid succeed and all that, I think it's time that they just show it on the pitch and go from there, and then just make those judgment calls on the pitch. Show them on the pitch that, hey, Madrid can still win, we can still do it. This is last thing I'll mention is against Monaco, we played this sort of setup, like a 3-4-3, which helped overload this middle section right here with Vinny, Bellingham, Goulet, Mbappe, Masantuono, and then we had Carreras and Valverde as with. This worked really well. We scored 6 goals. So I'd like to see this more. I'd like to see this much more. It was Camavinga over here instead of Carreras last time, but and having those four, that like just a four line of midfield is kind of what we did against Barcelona in the first Clasico. Just negate their midfield technical kind of. We negate them being better than us technically by just having more people in the middle. But I think this setup can work really well for Real Madrid because it's creating just those quick combination plays. Quick combinations and transitions. That's the name of the game for Real Madrid. It's always been the name of the game for Real Madrid. So I think Arbeloa can bring it to the squad. I think Xabi Alonso's ideas were great. I just think they didn't fit with the squad. And that's kind of why he didn't succeed. But to each their own. I really hope he does succeed. I did like him as a player a lot. I did want him to succeed as manager. I was super excited for him when he came to Real Madrid. Things don't go the way that, you always want them to, but at the end of the day, I just want this team to win something, so, and I do think we can. I do think La Liga is very much in reach. I do think Champions League, it's Real Madrid. Anything can happen, and I don't think that we're too far off the mark, It's just about finding that form and getting the best out of this man right here. Vinny performs, we'll win. It's simple as that. But yeah, okay. So that's all I'll talk about. Nice little video. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.